The Paris Olympics are on the horizon. To get there, the path goes through Hartford, where a star-studded field, including 3 Olympic all-around champions, looks to make their mark. Among them, Simone Biles, who has defined greatness in this sport, both in and away from competition. Suni Lee, the champion in Tokyo, making her way back from serious health issues. And Gabby Douglas, who is on a comeback journey of her own, rediscovering her love of the sport. It all starts now. NBC Sports welcomes you to the 2024 Core Hydration Classic. And we welcome you inside the Excel Center here in Hartford. Here we go. The path to Paris accelerates starting tonight. You want to make that team and compete, you've got to make an impression starting tonight. And what a field gathered here for this Core Hydration Classic. Yes, including Simone Biles. After Tokyo, we didn't know. She didn't know if she would return to the Olympics. She comes back. She won her 6th world all-around title this summer, and here she is, ready to compete. And then it's the U.S. Championships and the U.S. Olympic trials before Paris. Terry Gannon alongside Sam Pechik, John Roethlisberger, Zora Stevenson here as well. Sam, a part of that Olympic silver medal team in 2008 for the U.S., and John, a 3-time Olympian. So those 3 Olympic all-around champs in the field. But Sam, it doesn't end there. I mean, we're going to start on floor with the reigning Olympic gold medalist, Jade Carey.
She's an Olympic gold medalist on this event. There's actually 5 Olympians in the competition. So talk about a tough competition here, starting with one of the best.
Here we go.
With a double layout, full out. She just is coming off an all-around win at the American Classic, where she did limited skills and was still able to pull out the first place all-around spot there. When I asked her dad, who's also her coach, what difficulty she was going to be doing on this event, he said she could have the ability to upgrade every pass. So this is still an easy routine for Jade.
This path, this road we talk about to the Olympics, it is, yes, all about making an impression, but also making sure you peak at the right time. Star at Oregon State now, and you see more and more of that with the women from the U.S. competing in college and still making a run at the Olympics on the elite level.
She's been training these elite skills throughout that college season, so she said the transition wasn't that difficult for her.
23-year-old from Phoenix, Jade Carey, getting things started on floor exercise. So she's in the mix, and of course those 3 Olympic all-around champs are in the mix as well. Talked about Simone Biles, but Gabby Douglas here, and Suni Lee, who won the Olympic all-around at Tokyo. And Suni dealing with 2 different types of kidney disease, coming back from that. With more on that, we join Zora.
At one point, a doctor told Suni Lee that she would never be able to compete again. Now she brings training clips of her on the uneven bars or balance beam, and the doctors are in awe of all that she has overcome. Competing right now for Suni is all about proving to herself that she can do this, that she deserves to be here. And while Suni has made tremendous health strides, training still looks different. Visits to the clinic or hospital can take days, so she misses a good bit of time in the gym. Suni can't do 2-a-days because it takes her a while to recover. As for this weekend, she told us the end goal is not to win right now. The Olympic all-around champ said, I just want to get through the meet.
Zora, thanks. We've been at the Winter Cup, the American Classic, couple of events. This is the first time, though, on floor exercise since Tokyo.
It's a really difficult event to come back from. Not only do you have to get your skills back, but the endurance you have to have in order to dance hard, tumble hard, and put it all together in front of a big crowd. That's a lot to handle.
She's really honest with us a couple of days, or yesterday when we talked to her at practice about where she is right now. Kind of said maybe 60 to 75%, somewhere in there. And honest about the trips to the Mayo Clinic and going through those now every 3 months, not monthly at least. And trying to work up to peaking at the Olympic trials eventually.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Terry. Peaking at the right time, that's what all of these athletes are wanting to do, but they're in different spots right now. The goal here for Suni is to build up that skill level, get the confidence back, and as her coach, Jess Graba, said, get the swagger as well.
So the delay right now, which never helps an athlete, but we wait for the score for Jade Carey, who opened up a moment ago on floor exercise.
She's doing a good job. The key when you get iced out is to just keep moving.
Kind of looking around, so's Jade at the crowd, which, by the way, this crowd, it was buzzing early. I mean, and they were here early. They didn't just come, they came for batting practice is what they did. They wanted to see warm-ups and everything else.
Well, it's Simone Biles. She's doing all of her difficult skills, and she's doing it multiple times. Some might think it's better than the competition.
And they react to everything that she does.
Well, they also know it's an Olympic year. Every meet counts from here on out to prove to the selection committee they have the confidence to make it through a long season for Team USA.
All right, there are the numbers. So the difficulty, the execution, and even 8, and then 13.8. Try to help people out with the green. That's good. Yellow is in the middle, and then red, you don't want red.
Exactly, Terry.
Here is Suni Lee.
Her in training, she just looks so strong and so much healthier than when I had seen her in last year. Out of that turn, but the artistry is what I'm noticing about this routine. Of course, there's increased deductions. The judges are looking for body movement, elongation, and she's doing a really nice job of continuing that throughout this routine.
The reigning Olympic all-around champ, Suni Lee. Over to the Olympic all-around champ in 2012 when she was just 16 years of age. Gabby Douglas back to make a run toward Paris.
I'm excited to watch this routine. She has such a nice swing on this bar routine. Oh no. Got a little off balance, and it's really difficult to get off your rhythm in a bar routine. It's probably the most difficult event to have a mistake on because there's no breaks or pauses or dance elements that you could take a breath and regain your composure.
Larry Lucan out there to help, 28 years of age now. Calls Virginia Beach her hometown.
Of course, this meet is really important for Gabby Douglas because she's trying to qualify to championships in the all-around. She needs an all-around score of 51 here to do so.
Qualified in 3 different events, but not all around, all 4, which is important.
Yeah, guys, I watched her in training do this bar routine, and I actually was shocked at how, I shouldn't say shocked, she's always been good on bars, but she smoked this bar routine, and Sam, you brought up a good point. She's qualified on 3 events to the U.S. Championships, not in the all-around, and this bar routine is really going to make it hard for her to qualify in the all-around.
You mentioned she has the skill level. It just looks like nerves to me. coming back after not being in competition for 8 years, it's tough to simulate this arena.
You know, the all-around gold medalist in 2012, but also a part of that team goal for the U.S. in 2016. Eventually made a comeback at the American Classic in April, and now trying to go here to the championships, to the trials, but a really disappointing start.
This is where we start to see the mistake. She got a little off balance. I wanted to see her have more pressure on the bar with that left hand, but unfortunately couldn't quite finish the twist. She went to try it again right here to continue the connection, and unfortunately had another few mistakes in that routine.
Keep you posted on that qualifying. 51 is the number she needs tonight overall. So this number is not going to help that total. Simone Biles going to start on balance beam. She'll be the last one to go in her group. The opening rotation tonight in Hartford. First of 4 rotations underway in Hartford. There's the number for Suni Lee, an even 13.
5-2 is a lower difficulty score there, but again, you're seeing Gabby Douglas's score. That 10.1 is really disappointing. Didn't get a lot of her combination in the difficulty. That's the D score, and then the execution, because of the falls, that's only a 6.2. And the execution score, that's out of a 10.0. So we all remember the perfect 10. It still exists here.
All right. Earlier, the 2-time world team champ. So she's made the last couple of world championship teams. Sky Blakely, the 19-year-old from Frisco, Texas, very much in the mix for Paris.
And this is a really consistent event for Sky. Her coach always reminds her one skill at a time before she goes for this routine. She's very clean, good rhythm in this routine, and the rhythm is important because you need to have enough stamina for the end of your bar routine. Judges are looking, didn't get her grips all the way across the bar on that low to high release move. Again, disappointing start for the athletes on uneven bars so far. Sky is one of those athletes that really needs to show consistency in these pressure moments. She is such an athlete, has a lot of difficulty, but she really needs to show the selection committee that she can hit her routines.
So 13.2, the number on uneven bars. It'll take you over to Kayla DiCello. Team alternate back in 2020 has different plans this time around. The 20-year-old from Boyd, Maryland, and the all-around world bronze medalist back in 2021.
She took a year off from Florida to go back to Kelly Hill in her home gym to train for the year, and it's really proving to be successful for her after that win at Winter Cup. Wow. A lot of mistakes on the uneven bars. Now, Terry, even though these athletes are individual competitors, oftentimes there's a saying in gymnastics for sticks, but also with falls, that it can sometimes be contagious.
Is that right? Yeah.
Gymnastics is such a mental sport that if you catch a glimpse, you hear the crowd.
Do you watch then your competitors if you're going to go, say, last in that rotation?
You're not supposed to, and I'm willing to bet most of them didn't, but you can hear the crowd's reaction. And you know that it didn't go well for the athletes in front of her. She is known as a really consistent, icy competitor, so I'm actually a little surprised here. One of her goals in this competition is to work out of anything. And what I mean by that is being able to adjust when she has a mistake. So she's gonna get back into the gym.
That selection committee is looking for all-around gymnasts, yes, but also different types of gymnasts who can give them strengths, not weaknesses in certain events. So we'll get the score in a moment here. Go over and join John Roethlisberger again.
Hey guys, thank you. You know, the question in gymnastics always is, what is a good score? How do you know if a gymnast has put themselves in position to say, make an Olympic team? Well, it's a moving target. There's a lot of variables, but I want to kind of give you a benchmark of sorts to keep in mind as you're watching these gymnasts compete today. Let's take a look at the top 3 scores on each event for Team USA from the last World Championships. That top line, I'll be honest, that's mostly Simone Biles. But that bottom line is the score of interest. That's the 3rd highest score for Team USA at the most recent World Championship. So if a gymnast wants to help the team score for Team USA at the world stage, theoretically they need to do better than that number. So keep that number in mind. Connor McLean coming up here on balance beam. Is this an event that she could help Team USA? Well, what's that 3rd best score? If she can do better than that, she might just raise some eyebrows.
So here is the 19-year-old from Las Vegas who was the U.S. all-around champ in 2022 before a series of injuries.
Now this is a really impressive story, and I am still in awe watching her. In April, she was part of that LSU team that won the national championship title, but just after that is when she started training skills like that, a standing full, so difficult. So a lot of these, every athlete that is competing here today has had months and years to practice these routines, and Connor has just had a little over a month. Beautiful. When we had a chance to speak with her, she talked about how much joy she found in college doing gymnastics, and it's really helped her competing and be a lot more calm and confident here, and it's showing up on this beam routine.
That support of a team too, right?
Yeah, I was worried that it was going to be different here by herself, but she said, nope, I'm going to do the exact same things I do with my team, because that's what worked in college. She said winning nationals with her team actually inspired her to come back. And for anyone watching, she just wants to have fun. She's doing this for fun. That's why you're seeing just a layout dismount.
That looked fun. Yeah.
All smiles coming off of that beam routine.
You're doing it for fun, but then you get close and you're like, oh, no, this is working. And now I'm going to get greedy. No, I want it all now.
Well, of course she wants to make the teams, but I think telling herself she's just doing it for fun takes a lot of the pressure off of needing to make those teams, maybe like how she was as an elite growing up.
Okay, let's cello, uneven bars. So it's been a struggle on bars so far, 12-7.
Disappointing on the entire event. I don't know what's going on over there, but lots of falls, not how these athletes wanted to start the meet. And it's really hard to start with a fall because you have to brush it off mentally, and that's tough to do, Terry.
Get the number for Connor McLean on beam in a moment. But a moment ago, Leanne Wong, the 20-year-old from Overland Park, Kansas, and a 4-time world medalist.
Yurchenko double fold. Now she is a gamer. She's the athlete that came in for Team USA at World Championships last year, stepped in when Jocelyn Robertson hurt her ankle.
Star at the University of Florida as well. Still to come, Simone Biles should be the last to go in this rotation on balance beam. 13.95, by the way, for Leanne Wong for that vault, who was the world all-around silver medalist back in 2021. So, an experienced gymnast at the world championship level. What do you tell the greatest of all time before she stops, huh?
I'm laughing because her coach, Cecile, is obviously having a good conversation, reminding her to breathe, and even the greatest of all time needs that reminder to breathe, to stay in your zone. And for Simone, I think she does her best when she's the most casual and she's having fun. You see her right there. She doesn't look too serious. She's sitting down. That's what helps her compete at her best.
Shilese Jones, one of the top names, no doubt about it. The 2-time world all-around silver medalist. And here's this a moment ago on vault, and this is a name we expect to see in Paris.
Yeah, she should be on that team, assuming it's status quo throughout the summer. And she's just puts up big, beautiful gymnastics. And what's special about her gymnastics is the execution right there. Look at the E score, 9.35. That's out of the 10.0, which is why you're seeing such a high score.
First event of the season for Simone Biles in the lead up to Paris, and she will start on balance beam.
Adjustment before that back pike. If you think this routine looks familiar, that's because it's the exact routine that she did last year. Her other routines we're seeing today are different. But our coach Cecile said they didn't want to upgrade or change anything on beam because she's really building that comfortability on this event and the confidence, and they didn't want to mess with that. Triple series, no problem. We talk about rhythm on bars. Rhythm on beam is actually really important as well, and a lot of these athletes have a different style. Simone is really quick twitched. You see how fast she gets to that finish position. I always say the quicker you do the skill, the less time there is to make a mistake. Finishing full in. Great way for her to start this competition. She made that face because it wasn't perfect. She had an adjustment, so she broke the first connection, and that's why she's a champion, Terry.
Simone Biles has a different standard, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody else lives up to that. What a start here at the Core Hydration Classic, and the first of many routines we'll see over the next couple of months.
And look how small the beam looks. It's only 4 inches, but it looks even smaller with this angle. And she tumbles on it no problem, just like she's on the floor.
Yeah, that look from directly above, it makes me kind of dizzy.
I'm
but
glad I didn't
also
see that angle when I was a gymnast,
yeah,
Terry.
I bet. I can imagine. Ho-hum, just like nothing.
These athletes don't want to be 100% now, so I'm glad she left a little something for improvement.
7 Olympic medals, 4 of them gold, and 30 medals at the World Championships. The Core Hydration Classic is brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seats in the house with Xfinity because it's only live once. By Nike, introducing the Nike Air Max DN, featuring dynamic air. The next generation of air technology is here. Air Max DN, feel the unreal. By Prevagen. And by Core Hydration. Core Hydration believes that wellness is whatever works for you. Find your balance, find your core. Back here in Hartford, the Core Hydration Classic, and here's how things stand after the opening rotation of 4. Simone Biles in the lead, Shilese Jones right there, Connor McClain, more on her in a moment, in third, Leanne Wong, Jade Carey. We do have some news. While we were away, we have found out that Gabby Douglas has withdrawn from the rest of the events tonight. So she is out for the rest of the evening. And just a moment ago, Connor McClain, while warming up on floor, was injured. So this is her right now being taken off floor. And we'll get more on that situation as soon as we can, and maybe some updates on Gabby Douglas as well. But so while warming up on floor exercise, Connor McClain, and she's had so many injuries the last couple of years too after that U.S. championship in 2022. But Simone getting ready. She'll be on floor as well in this rotation. So an eventful opening rotation, on to rotation number 2, and take you over to Jordan Childs, who was such a big part of that team silver medal in Tokyo for the Americans.
And she is an amazing performer. The facial expressions, the engagement to the fans, and she can tumble. Not only a new floor routine, but new routine construction. She's only going to be doing 3 tumbling passes instead of 4 to help raise her execution score. Wow, great job working out of that pass. Choreography is from her UCLA coach, BJ Doss. And the theme is Presence of a Queen. That's a good omen before you do your routine.
Okay.
Finishing double layout, you see she landed out of bounds. Although it's not a deduction to have that 4-inch mat, Terry, it is a deduction to go over the line. It's a 1/10 deduction. I did see the yellow flag being raised.
UCLA Bruin back to the elite level, and the athlete that won the silver medal on floor at the World Championships back in 2022, Jordan Childs. Moment ago, Suni Lee on vault. So we saw Suni open up on floor, but the 21-year-old from St. Paul on vault. Here's a look.
She told us, shockingly, bars and vault have been the hardest to build stamina. She said her legs still aren't as strong as she wants them to be. Yurchenko full, so not as much difficulty as some of the athletes in the competition. We say the word Yurchenko a lot. That's a round off onto the board, back handspring onto the table.
13-1-5 the number in that yellow, so not green but not red either. Suni, you watched her and really thought she looked strong in practice, and her, when you talk to her, she's not as confident as what you see.
I think she still needs to prove to herself that she deserves to be here. She brought that up a few times, and while I see it watching her, she hasn't been able to be consistent and do the numbers in the gym.
All this part of making an impression, making the team, as we send it back over to John.
Yeah, guys, the goal of USA Gymnastics when they're putting together a 5-person Olympic team in a 3-up, 3-count format like in the Olympic team finals is obviously to have 3 great scores on each event. And that likely means that they cannot put gymnasts on the same team that have the same great events. It's like putting together a starting lineup in basketball. You can't put all point guards. You can't put all centers. You have to have a diverse amount of talent to round out the team. Case in point, Jade Carey and Jocelyn Robertson. They are both outstanding on floor and vault. That is where they shine, and that means it's unlikely that they would both be put on the same Olympic team. So what does that mean? Not only do they need to show world-class gymnastics, maybe just as importantly, they need to beat each other. And Jade Carey, she started the competition on floor with a 13-8. Here goes Jocelyn Robertson. The battle within the battle here between these two athletes to make potentially down the road an Olympic team.
Yeah, John, good point. So here is the 18-year-old from Texarkana, Texas, and think about it, you're going up against Jade Carey, the Olympic champ on floor, and here a moment ago, Jade Carey on vault, just what John's talking about.
She's doing her Chung vault here, very difficult. The last time she did it was championships last year. Nicely done. She found the landing. It was controlled. Her chest was vertical when her feet hit the mat. Those are all the things that the judges are going to be looking for.
And again, what John's talking about, it's not like head-to-head comparison, but overall impression when they make up a team. They do want and need strengths on certain apparatus.
And for Jade Carey and Jocelyn Robertson, it's vault and floor. That is the conversation. They do all 4 events, of course, but that's really their specialty.
14-3 is what Jade got for that vault. The second vault you see there is part of the vault, trying to win the vault individual apparatus. But in terms of the all around, that first one is the one. But Jocelyn Robertson, who's made a big impression in the last year or so. Number for Jordan Childs, 13.35. The penalty, you mentioned it.
Yeah, the out of bounds. She got a 0.3 deduction because both feet went over the line. This is Jocelyn's second meet of the year, but the first time we're going to see her on vault and floor since qualification at Worlds. Didn't have enough rotation on the double back. This is the first big meet of the year, so what I'm noticing across the board, not only on floor but on bars too, is the stamina. They still need that endurance for these routines. She's really fighting through this routine. A lot of people ask, what's the point of this meet? And the point of this meet is for them to try new upgrades and combination and see if they work. Do they have the stamina to make the difficulty, or should they take it out and play it safe? It's the risk versus reward.
Yeah, you are learning in this particular competition what to bring to the U.S. Championships and eventually the trials.
Everyone wants to bring the difficulty, but if they can't successfully do the difficulty in their routines, it's not worth it. That's what they're evaluating here.
An ankle injury at the World Championships, a disappointment, but it was in this event a year ago that she really made everybody take notice. Third in the all-around at the U.S. Championships. She was 7th, won vault. So certainly a bright future for the 18-year-old from Texas who trains in Spring, Texas with Simone Biles and her coaches, Jocelyn Robertson. Back to remind you, American stars Ryan Krauser, Kristen Coleman, and Sha'Carri Richardson continued their path to Paris at one of track and field's premier events, the U.S. Track and Field Nike Prefontaine Classic, coming your way next Saturday, 4 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Rotation 2 continues here in Hartford, the Core Hydration Classic. Shilese Jones in second, right behind Simone Biles after the opening rotation. And a few moments ago, her effort on uneven bars. We're going to get a good effort here. We've had some struggles on bars.
Yeah, this is one of her best events, so she can put up a big score. She's doing some new elements. Right here, laid out Jaeger position is new. She told us that this is the hardest event to build endurance for her, but it's looking really strong so far. When we spoke to her, she was talking about how excited she was about the new routine construction. She said there's less elements, but more difficulty. So she actually gets through her routine easier, even though it's worth more.
21-year-old from Seattle. The effort on uneven bars, 15.25, so that's the highest that we have seen. Talked about all these athletes, different ones in college these days. Times have certainly changed in women's gymnastics. With more, here's Zora.
Well, Terry, athletes used to have to choose between college and elite gymnastics, but that's not the case anymore. There are 7 either current or former college gymnasts at this meet today, and in talking with so many of them, they mentioned the joy that college gymnastics brings them and how it fuels their love for the sport. Jade Carey, for example, says the college environment is really important for her. Jade told me her college coaches help her with handling pressure. They have helped her improve her form and the little details. Plus, she's having fun, and Jade says when she's having fun, she is at her best.
No, you feel that way about the broadcast, right?
It's exactly what I was going to say,
You
Derek.
say to me before we go on every time. Yeah.
I just have so much fun.
How about a star at the University of Florida, Leanne Wong, a moment ago on uneven bars, not only competitive athlete, but 4.0 GPA in pre-med in the spring. Hello.
She has a lot to juggle, and I would have thought thought it would be so difficult to finish a full NCAA gymnastics season going right into elite season, but you're seeing athletes like Jade Carey and Leanne Wong do it with ease, and they talk about how much it helps them prepare. So they're using college to build consistency. They are constantly put into pressure moments. So then when you add the difficulty, they have a great foundation for competing. Form break, but was able to catch the bar. Very impressive that she's continuing this routine right now. That'll be a significant deduction for bending her knees, but other than that, she really didn't break the rhythm. Great adjustment.
Yeah, coach loves it too.
And not too bad to finish with a stuck landing.
Exactly. So 13.85, the number for Leanne Wong. Thought higher?
I think that's really good. The execution 8.15. It would have been higher if she didn't bend her knees on that low to high bar release move.
All right, guess who on floor next? Get ready to be wowed, as always, on this floor exercise routine.
And you're in for a treat because she's doing a triple-double. That's 3 twists in the air, 2 flips before she lands. And the last time she did it, Terry, was at the Olympic Games.
There you go. That was amazing. Champion for a reason. So much difficulty in this routine. You should not be able to do that as a human being. That's ridiculous.
She just keeps getting better.
Guys, the triple-double mount, we talked, Sammy, you and I talked to Laurent Landy, one of her coaches, and he said she almost has to walk into that so she doesn't go out of bounds. She gets too amped up and runs too hard. She has too much power. She has to hold back to make it properly. That's not right. That's unfair.
I'm laughing, John, because who has to try less for a triple-double? Only Simone Biles.
And she had some juice on that one. She flew on the landing, but still, you said it, Terry, who cares? It was unbelievable.
Well, it's her first meet back since World Championships last year. The arena is packed. Look at it. She's got so much juice, that adrenaline. We call that a good mistake. Over-rotating and having too much power is a good mistake in gymnastics, especially at this point in the season. You see that 4-inch mat, that's not a deduction, it's just to help her ankles soften the blow of these landings.
You know, she's 27 years old as well. I mean, you think about not only the competitions, but the days in the gym and what that does take out of your, well, you know, I'm telling you, take out of your body over the course of time, and yet still able to do stuff like that.
We talk about Simone being a trailblazer in so many ways, but as a gymnast and somebody that went to the Olympics, her being a trailblazer, continuing the sport at 27 is just so impressive to me. I retired when I was 24, and she is just incredible and still getting better.
So here to watch not only all the people here who are her fans. Jonathan Owens, her husband, safety for the Bears. And so Simone, a big Bears fan now.
Yeah, of course. She's got all the gear.
Green Bay down to Chicago.
I mean, he's been on the Packers and the Bears. I'm a Vikings fan, Simone. Can we please come to Minnesota?
That's great.
I want to cheer for him a little more. Come on.
I'm a Bears guy. I'm from Chicago originally, so. Sky Blakely over on beam, getting ready to go.
This is arguably the most important event for Sky Blakely right now. She's had some mistakes in championships on this event in the past, but when she hits this routine, she has the ability to help Team USA because she has so much difficulty.
Sam, more than the ability to help, she has the ability to win the Olympics on this event, but you said it, she's got to show she can hit every single time.
You don't see that series very often. When Sky is on beam, she works very aggressively. I'm sensing a little timidness, which is why you're seeing some wobbles at the end of her skills. It's tough to simulate a competition, especially on beam, but the beam is also on podium. So it can make the balance beam a little bit more wobbly. You have to be extra patient when you finish your skills. So the timing is a little different than, let's say, in your home gym. And then you add a little bit of nerves on top of that. So I'd like to see her breathe throughout this routine. That usually calms you down. She got through that routine, Terry, but we know she can do better.
She's only 19 years of age. Last time around, in terms of the Olympics, originally she wasn't age eligible, but then a delay, and she was. She was in position maybe to make the team, but then injured her elbow at the Olympic trials, which took her out, and so trying to make it to Paris this time around. Kayla DiCello, short time ago, she was up on beam, the 20-year-old from Maryland. Watching her since she won the junior all-around title back in 2019. The U.S.
Her coach always tells her that this meet, Classics, is like a good dress rehearsal. So that's her mindset coming into the competition today. Nice control. I like to ask these athletes how they practice in these arenas under pressure situations. And get this, her coach actually throws pit blocks in front of her randomly so she doesn't lose concentration.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Her coach tries to distract her, she smacks the beam, and then she even yells, "The beam's moving," just to make sure that her mind is so tough that it doesn't let it affect her.
I think it's hard enough. Come on.
But she's trying to make her bulletproof for situations like this, like the Olympic Games. She's not done yet, but this is looking pretty solid. So that might be a good way to practice in the gym, staying focused. Nice finish for Kayla DiCello.
You know, you can think about it as a dress rehearsal. That's fine. And athletes play mind games all the time. You get out here and all these people, and you're on TV, and you look over and there's Simone Biles, there's Suni Lee, there's Gabby. This is an event. This is a competition. Just like that, you realize 13.5, the number for Kayla DiCello on beam.
I'd like to see her increase that execution score. She could sharpen those landings and clean up a bit, which is a goal of hers.
How about Sky Blakely for that beam routine? 13.85. So that's in green. That's good enough. And definitely that one. 14-8 for Simone Biles. That one penalty for out of bounds. But the leader. Back to check out the standings after the second rotation. How about this? Shilese Jones in the lead over Simone Biles than Jade Carey. Is this a night where we could see Shilese Jones actually win this?
It's possible, but you're forgetting Simone Biles has her secret weapon coming next.
Yeah, the vault still to come, but what a bar routine for Shilese Jones. Big number.
Incredible. She is so good on that event. She's increased her difficulty. She said she even has more in the bank. So it's an athlete that continues to get better.
So we've got Simone Biles on vault next in the third rotation as we continue from Hartford. Back with the start of rotation 3 tonight. If you were with us earlier, you know Connor McLean was injured warming up for her floor exercise routine. With more on that, here's John.
Yeah, guys, I went down and I talked to Connor and her coach, Courtney McCool-Griffith, who's right there in the background. And I asked her what it was, and she said it's an Achilles. The extent of which she did not expand upon, but obviously she's out of this competition, and I'm sure we'll find out more in the coming days. But definitely a solemn Connor McLean, and she was really looking forward to today. But her day is over, but hopefully she will be back in action as soon as possible.
Hate to see that after the injury she has sustained. Over to Jocelyn Robertson on vault. She's very good at this. Big step at the end.
Though, yeah, Terry. She talked about how she was still recovering at the beginning of this year, so hasn't quite had the numbers that she's had in previous years. Still using moments like this as practice to reach her peak. Of course, you want to be at 100% at Olympic trials and the Olympics. So you see that left arm bent on the table. You want to actually block through your shoulders, not your elbows.
Remember that competition within a competition for the Olympic team too, which could be developing that John talked about. Robertson, Jade Carey. Jade Carey at 14.225 earlier. So we'll see what the number is in a moment for Robertson. Now, a moment ago, the leader after the first 2 rotations on beam, Shilese Jones.
She needs to be solid on this event, but one of my rules of beam is looking at the end of the beam, and I could tell right when she mounted, her eyes are glued. The vision is at the end of the beam. Of course, when you're trying to balance, looking at something that's not moving versus looking at the crowd is always helpful for balancing. Triple series. Beautifully done. I think what's special to me about Shilese Jones, not just on beam, but on the other events, she has those big skills, very dynamic athlete, but the way she does them is a special finesse. She makes them look so beautiful and adds an artistic component to everything she does. Little adjustment. That's probably the easiest skill in her routine, but there's something about big arenas and high pressure moments that you always seem to wobble on the full turn. On that event.
Talking to her yesterday, you know, her family, a big influence. Her dad who passed away in 2021, such a big part of her career. But she was just beaming, talking about her niece and nephew back at home watching. Her niece is a gymnast, young gymnast, who always says to her, you really know Simone Biles? She's like, yeah, I compete against her. I try to beat her every time out here.
There's nothing about family that keeps you humble more than comments like that, but she talks about how it helps her decompress.
Jocelyn Robertson, 13.55. So remember, Jade Carey was 14.2 and change, much higher number. Meanwhile, Simone Biles, this rotation is vault, which is always special. We take a look back at today's Prevagen memorable moment, take you back to the 2023 World Championships.
Check it out, Yurchenko double pike, it's huge. Takes a big step out of it, but it doesn't matter because it's such a difficult vault.
Now the Biles too, the fifth skill named after Simone Biles, doing it in international competition.
But you noticed in that video, her coach, Laurent Landy, was standing on the podium. She actually got a half-point deduction for him standing there. So this is going to be the first time she does the Yurchenko double pike, the Biles too, without her coach standing there. Just to put it in perspective, she fell during event finals on vault. But if her coach wasn't standing there, she would have still won with a fall.
Would you like to see that changed?
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
for safety reasons.
It doesn't make sense because you see the coaches standing there on uneven bars and there is no deduction on bars. But Simone Biles is the first athlete to do a vault that is this difficult. So they're hoping, and I'm hoping, the rule needs to be changed after this Olympic Games. It should be changed now.
Just about ready.
Coach wasn't standing on the podium, but they were clapping really loud when she landed that. She practices it by herself in the gym, but it's important that she practices the visuals of doing it by herself in the competition. I'm guessing she's putting that one in the bank.
Not going to see it from anybody else here.
Or anyone else in the world, Terry. That's a round off onto the board, back handspring onto the table. 2 flips in a pike position, and she still had more power. Check it out. No one can do it like her.
And then some.
Look how high she gets. She finishes both her flips right about the height of the vault, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah, the elevation that she gets is unlike anyone else, whether it's floor or vault, it's something else.
Yeah, she actually under-rotated and put her hands down in front of her in the warm-up and then over-rotated and fell backwards. So, third time's a charm.
All right, so there's the number, 15.6.
You can't do much better than that. You just can't.
The greatest, Simone Biles. Shilese Jones, remember, she had the lead after the second rotation, 14.05. And so Simone Biles has flipped it. She is now in the lead here.
When you have that much difficulty, the cushion is so much more for mistakes. Even though Simone had that big step out of her vault, the D score, the difficulty score, was so significant it didn't matter.
Shilese has been great, but Simone Biles leads again.
World champions on vault. Coming up next on uneven bars for Oregon State will be Jade Carey, followed by Great Americans.
Jade Carey in third place, remember, right outside those top 2 after the first 2 rotations. Getting set on uneven bars.
This is a new bar routine for her. The goal here is to be calm and confident. Even though she's known as a powerful athlete and on floor and vault, she's really become a standout in the all-around.
Wow.
Something's going on over there on bars. We're seeing too many mistakes that we did not see in the warm-ups. I'm wondering if it's nerves, if the bars are slippery. There's a lot of variables this stage in the season.
Dad Brian, her coach.
This is an event that she usually is status quo on, not the most amount of difficulty. She just gets on and does her job. So again, uncharacteristic for her to see a fall here.
Been sensational at Oregon State, had a somewhat disappointing elite season last year. Did not make the World Championship team. Competed well at the American Classic last month in Texas. Problems on bars, though, for Jade Carey. She is not alone. We saw that sensational routine from Chilese Jones, but it's been a bit of a struggle on uneven bars tonight as we continue here with rotation 3. Race for the Premier League title still not settled. It'll be a championship Sunday for the ages. Manchester City chasing an unprecedented 4th consecutive title, while Arsenal shoot for their first title in 20 years. Only one will be crowned on Championship Sunday on the networks of NBC Universal. Sky Blakely getting set for her 4th routine here in 6th place after the opening 2 rotations.
Double layout with a full out. She wanted to add, of course, increasing that difficulty score. Beautiful double front to a stag jump. That's another new element for her this year. She was really proud of her preparation. That she's confident because she's done so many numbers. Bounced out of that pass. So when these athletes talk about numbers, they're talking about the amount of times they've done these elements and routines in the gym to build up that muscle memory in the bank. Now, that mistake we saw from Sky, that wasn't an issue of stamina. That was a silly oopsie mistake.
How many times a day or a week would you do these routines in practice?
A full floor routine, usually you do maybe once a day, once every other day, but you do a lot of those tumbling passes not in routines. Let me tell you, they are doing hundreds of these skills, if not more, every single week.
So Sky is set to go to the University of Florida, where Leanne Wong is a star. Ready, on beam.
It's really tough to have a mistake on your first element because, again, you got to forget about it, and that's really tough to do, especially on this event. No problems with that backhand spring layout series. We talk a lot about the artistry deductions on floor, and the artistry deductions on beam are also important, and no one has better posture than Leanne Wong. She has such good rhythm and stage presence, if you will, on this event. Really just off center on that side summy. Didn't quite push hard enough out of that front foot. She's been in a lot of pressure situations this year with her University of Florida team, and I'm really surprised here because she's normally a very icy competitor. I've said that a few times tonight, and it's true. I think a lot of these athletes are feeling the nerves of it being an Olympic year. Sometimes when you try too hard to be perfect, more mistakes arise.
You've been there to start this, and this is where it really amps up right now for an Olympic run. it's entirely different than any other season, right?
Yeah, you feel that, and it's in the back of your mind, and any level of doubt will basically cause you to walk.
Yeah, guys, this arena, I came in and right away I thought the energy in here is different. And I know this doesn't necessarily directly affect the Olympic team selection, but I guarantee the athletes feel like it does. The tension is amped up. You enter the Olympic cycle, the Olympic year, and it is a different vibe. And I'm telling you, I think they all feel it this time out on the floor. I think they're going to smooth things out at championships, but it's all of a sudden it hit them. It's real now. And up to this point, it's always been coming up.
Yep.
It's always been in the future, but it slams you in the face when you walk into this venue today. It was loud.
So that number for Jade Carey and now Sky Blakely for floor, 13.25. And John and Sam, it was at least an hour or more before this thing started that this place was hopping. It wasn't just at the beginning of the actual meet. All right, so we continue here with the third rotation. Jordan Childs in sixth after the opening two. A few moments ago, her effort on vault.
She'll be doing a Yurchenko double full. And this is an easy skill for her. She normally lands it very well. And status quo, exactly what we can expect from Jordan Childs on that event.
Talked about her being a star at UCLA, then returned to elite competition 2022 and on vault. Won a world silver medal, 14.1 the number.
And you're looking at that 9-1 execution score. Again, that's out of a 10.0, so very well executed.
Hopes to be in the mix yet again. Was there in Tokyo. 5 Olympians in the field tonight, including 3 Olympic all-around champs.
Yeah, you mentioned the Olympic all-around champs. People don't realize there's 3 other athletes that have won world all-around medals. Right. Leanne Wong's been on the podium. Kayla DiCello's been on there. Shilese Jones has been on the all-around podium twice. I mean, this field it's absolute insanity how decorated it is.
12-4 the number for Beam. Leanne Wong, disappointing number as we take you over to Trinity Thomas in 5th place after the second rotation. Yeah, you heard University of Florida. That's another Gator in the mix here. 23 years of age from York, Pennsylvania.
Well, if you follow college gymnastics at all, you know the name Trinity Thomas. She tied the perfect 10 record by getting 28 perfect 10s in her career. She felt like she had more left in the tank, which is why we're seeing her here continuing to train.
Yeah, what a great career at the University of Florida. Named the nation's top collegiate gymnast in back-to-back years.
But it's different. A lot of people ask, you know, what is the difference, right, between college gymnastics and elite gymnastics? She was such a star in college gymnastics, and she could still be a star in elite gymnastics, but here in this elite world, there's so many more skills in each routine. That difficulty component is so much more important than it is in college. So not only do you have to do the skills as perfectly as you can, but you have to do the most difficult skills you can. Really tough. Oh, man. Again, it's tough. 1 mistake, turning into 2, but if you can hear the crowd, everyone is supporting Trinity Thomas right now to get back on this beam.
One thing to keep in mind, too, Trinity's already qualified to the U.S. Championships. There's only 4 athletes on the floor today that hadn't qualified. She's going to be there. So this is, again, like a lot of these athletes, this is a dress rehearsal for her. She will be there and certainly working out some of these kinks.
And what I'm noticing from a lot of these athletes is they need to do either, I'm going to say more numbers, but maybe not even physically. They need to work on that mental toughness in these pressure situations. In front of a crowd, on podium.
Hard to replicate that in practice.
It is hard unless your coach is throwing pit blocks and distracting you.
Trinity Thomas not only got a bachelor's degree from Florida, but then a master's degree in health education and behavior in 2023 and a master's in entrepreneurship in 2024. Hello. Not the beam routine that she had envisioned here at the Core Hydration Classic, though. So guess who's taking the lead once again? Simone Biles heading to the last rotation. Back to remind you, you can jump in the tank and check out these fantastic deals. That's right, Sam. Watch Shark Tank every Monday through Thursday starting at 8 Eastern on CNBC. So the Core Hydration Classic here in Hartford continues. We head to that final rotation. Guess who is in the lead right now? Yes, Simone Biles. Uneven bars still to come from her. So she took the lead. Remember, Shilese Jones did have the lead after the second rotation. How about Jordan Childs moving up to third ahead of Jade Carey? So we welcome you back in. Terry Gannon along with Sam Pescick. Your thoughts on what we've seen from Simone so far tonight?
Just incredible. We are seeing magic happen in this arena. She's doing so many difficult elements, a lot of them that she hasn't done in a long time, and she's doing them confidently, she's doing them comfortably, and I think that's what we're going to continue to see from Simone throughout this summer.
Got the challenge of bars next, though. We've seen some trouble on uneven bars and beam tonight so far. Maybe a part of the fact that this is the first elite competition in the lead up to the Paris Olympics.
Well, if Simone has trouble on bars, I think there's something wrong with the bars, okay? Let's start there. But yeah, we've seen a lot of mistakes here, and I think it's just them working out the kinks with new routines. They're working on their mental toughness throughout the routines, and maybe just not as many numbers, or they're not used to an arena yet, and that's all the things that need to improve as they're leading into the Paris Games.
You've been there and done this, part of an Olympic silver medal team for the U.S. I know you talk about dress rehearsals and working out routines, but this is the competition. It kicks in. So there is that balance between the two, right?
I think they're trying too hard. They want to be perfect. They're trying a lot of new elements. They're adding difficulty. So this is really a testing ground to see which combinations they're going to leave in their routines and which ones maybe are not going to be ready enough to do comfortably in competition from here on out.
And here's the other thing. There's pressure anyway because of the names who are here, what they have done. I mean, this is as deep and talented a field as you can get. Trying to make a team, which you have said is the hardest team to make in the world. Look at the numbers in terms of the Olympics and the World Championships.
I think it's going to be harder for them to make this team than the pressure at an Olympic Games. That's how fierce this field is.
37 in terms of Simone Biles. That's yeah, it's okay. The most ever at the World Championships with 30 medals throughout her career, and of course the 7 Olympic medals as well. Set for the final rotation next in Hartford. Back to remind you, Friday, July 26th, the Olympic Games return live from Paris on NBC and Peacock. Yeah, pretty good bet Simone will be there. And young fans watching in Paris, too.
I think that's a good bet, Terry.
She does have the lead. Took the lead after that vault. Shilese Jones, terrific uneven bar routine earlier. And she led after the second rotation. But Jordan Childs going ahead of Jade Carey. Kana Sumidasekura rounding out the top 5. All right, so we're talking about that competition within the competition and those trying to make the Olympic teams, but also Simone Biles and how extraordinary the vault was, John.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a Yurchenko-style vault. A lot of people say, what does that mean? It means you do a round off from the floor onto the vault board right there. And what makes her so great is how quick she gets her hands to that vault table. See the angle there where her feet are? That creates so much power, and that power results in this. I mean, the height that she gets, that is astronomical. 12 feet in the air. I had a chance to measure that at one point. So high. And then the landing. Here's the key on the landing. You see this guy right here? That's the coach. Oh, we just lost him right there. He is no longer, he's out of the picture. He's not on the mat. That's a 5/10 increase in her score. Absolutely amazing.
Well, you talk about a competition within a competition. Simone is just competing against herself right now.
How did you measure that, by the way? I'm calling no.
It's top secret, but we did measure it, and it's about 12 feet in the air. How high did you go in basketball? Did you ever get above the
Yeah,
rim?
about that high.
Could you dunk?
Okay, let's
All
move
right,
on.
settle down, guys. Simone
Simone on
Biles
bars.
is on bars, Terry. Thank you. This is the event that she doesn't have as much difficulty, but what stands out is that she connects everything, and that's what really increases her value on this event. She's very quick on and off, getting these skills accomplished, and no problem. She added back her double twisting, double back there. So we're starting to see the difficulty across the board for Simone Biles being added into her routines. They wanted to stagger those launches, let's call them, to make sure that she can handle them mentally. And guys, from where I'm sitting, she's having no problem.
Well, and we've talked to her so often when she's like, yeah, I really don't like bars. Yeah, I don't really want to go do that. And that looked pretty good.
Pretty good.
And not even out of breath.
Sometimes when you don't have pressure on an event, it actually makes it easier for you. So all she thinks about most likely is, I just got to get on and hit this routine, and that's what she does.
Husband Jonathan Owens watching. There's the reaction. Oh, yeah, standing ovation has to be.
Well, that's what you want from your husband, right? First person to be standing. Who wouldn't stand for Simone Biles?
The other aspect, though, we talk about her age, 27, and knowing your body and what you can do and not do training in the lead up to these events, too.
The national staff talks about just how smart you have to train at this level. Simone does it the best, but everyone's trying to follow suit, just like Sky Blakely here.
Blakely on vault.
Very easy Yurchenko double for her. She's working on upgrades. It's going to become crucial for her to add that difficulty here. It could really increase her chances for Paris if she does add the more difficult vault.
Talked about her planning on starting in Florida in August. Her sister Sloane, gymnast at Florida for the Gators. So we'll get her score in a moment here on vault. And the number, how about that number, 14.55 on bars?
6'2" difficulty, you know, we talk about that being quote unquote her worst event. She doesn't have a bad event, okay? But 6'2" difficulty is huge. And to still get an execution score above an 8.0, solid work from Simone.
Yeah, that start value, 2/10 higher than the World Championships last fall. So Simone Biles, not just resting on her laurels, she's still pushing the envelope.
Remember that number from Shilese Jones on bars, though, 15.25, and how good that routine was.
Now on floor for Twin City Twisters, Lexi Zice.
So, stay with bars. Tiana Sumina-Sekera, only 16 years of age, from Pleasanton, California. Second season as a senior elite gymnast.
I really enjoyed watching her growth in elite gymnastics, and when I watched her training, I could just see how strong and confident she was across the board. But this event right here is the reason she moved to World Champion Center, to increase her difficulty, her execution, and this is her event with the biggest improvement.
World Champion Center, where Simone Biles trains, same coaches.
That's her coach right there, Laurent Landy. Her best event is beam, but she's really doing a good job of putting these events together here today. And you see the added difficulty in her routine. And again, she looked confident. That's what the judges and the selection committee are looking for at this stage.
We will step aside here in Hartford. Be back in a moment for the rest of this final rotation of the Core Hydration Classic. Jade Carey in fourth place after the third rotation, all smiles with the effort on balance beam. Here it is.
She said this event more than any other event college has helped her, not only from an artistry standpoint, but a comfortability standpoint. She said she was put in so many pressure situations from her college team this year that she's actually really comfortable under pressure now. It's something that she used to struggle with, but hearing her talk about how confident she was is a really good sign heading into an elite season.
Now on the even bars for world champions, Jordan Childs.
Back handspring layout, no problems there. Her college routine was an easier version of this routine that you're seeing here, but whenever she would travel to college meets, she would actually practice those elite skills. So she's been practicing this routine in pressure situations all year long, which is an advantage that a lot of these athletes didn't have. And she looks so solid. She looks unfazed. She looks bulletproof. Everything that you want to look during your routine, she has that right here.
Right to the end.
Wow. I'm really impressed. And you see all smiles there. She was locked in. Great work from Jade Carey.
Excellent routine from Jade Carey. Yeah, most athletes, if they go to college and compete, they'll take some time away then and work on their elite skills. I mean, she's doing both at the same time, working on those skills.
She wanted to start earlier this year because last year she said she felt unprepared. And she's really proud of their training plan because she said she's gotten more numbers in, and the confidence she feels is actually stronger than before the last Olympics.
This doesn't put her on an Olympic team today. But I tell you what, she made a big statement because, like you said, tough year last year. She didn't make the world team, and she came out. A lot of people were talking about her, but now she showed it wasn't just talk. It's real, and she is certainly back to that form we know from 2021.
I mean, this is the Olympic floor champion. Right? And so it's kind of crazy to think that there's any doubt that she would be right there. But there has been a little bit because of what took place last season on the elite level. This an important night. Over at Suni Lee, ready to go on balance beam.
You talk about the confidence, and I'm laughing because everyone, if you know a gymnast, it's a sport that breeds type A perfectionists. So even though you win an Olympic gold medal, you still have to continuously prove to yourself that you're confident and comfortable on the event, just like Suni Lee.
We talked about her pacing this comeback after 2 different types of kidney illnesses, which she describes as in remission right now, still getting treatment, figuring things out, but not a part of the all-around tonight. Floor, vault, and this beam, 3 of the 4.
She won beam at American Classics, and she looks really good and didn't even do her full difficulty at that competition. Talk about an athlete that says she's only between 60 and 75% and is winning competitions here on balance beam. Beautiful, dynamic, aggressive triple series. Adjustment, big deduction with that leg up in broken connection. That's a gainer layout full. So with that dismount, it actually adds 3/10 more than a gainer in a tuck position. So her coaches were really excited about the upgrade on the dismount.
And illness different than injuries, but we've seen her come back from injury before. Remember the U.S. Championships, 2-time U.S. all-around silver medalist, and not feel ready, not feel entirely prepared, and be very good in the moment.
But what's interesting is after talking to her coach, Jess Grayba, he reminded her that in 2021, she fell on bars and beam and had lots of doubters and overcame that. So he reminds her of that often.
Final event of the night for Shilese Jones. On floor.
routine for her. Now, most athletes hire a choreographer, but Shilese Jones choreographed the whole thing herself, she told us. She said a choreographer did come in and tweak it to more of what the judges were looking for, but she was really proud to showcase this. Position, her body movement, she really checks a lot of the artistry boxes that the judges are looking for. Elongation is actually something that they look for. Insufficient amplitude. You can't just do a pose, it's not enough. You have to continue to move through your fingers.
It's already proven she's one of the best in the world. Twice on the podium at the World Championships, last time around with Simone Biles, Rebecca Andrade from Brazil. Shilese Jones, good night.
I'm never ceased to be amazed by this athlete. Just time and time again, she kind of lives in her own world in gymnastics. She's got her own plan, and she even said, she goes, I just stick to my plan. So a lot of people don't know what to expect, but year after year, she delivers. And I'll tell you this, we think Simone will be on the Olympic team if she just keeps doing what she's doing. I'm gonna tell you, so will Shilese Jones. If she continues to do what she did today, and she's done over the last 2 years, just ink her in for another one of those spots.
Remember, the last time around in Tokyo was 4. That they take the delay. It's 5 now. Now you get into all different things about the team event and 4 but 3 count qualification, and then 3 up, 3 count during the finals. That's different, but 5 members overall of the team.
5 members, but what the selection committee will look at is the 3 up, 3 count. That is the first and most important thing, is how do you fit into a 3 up, 3 count? Depth is important, but we want to have the best 3 routines, and how do you piece that together? And really, if Shilese does what she's been doing, and Simone, they will start that puzzle, and then you fill in with the next 3 after that.
Well, consistency is a huge part of that 3 up, 3 count. And from what we've seen from Shilese Jones, not only does she have the difficulty, but she's bringing the consistency. She told us her mindset is that she's here for a job and she's here for herself. And that's the mindset that's continuing to work for her.
So, John, that will continue. It's not really starts here. They've been looking at competition throughout, but this is a big part of it. And then the championships, and then the trials, the final piece of the puzzle to pick the team.
Yeah, and it is a puzzle, and a piece that the selection committee, or USA Gymnastics, has always seemed to pick is a great floor vaulter. We started the competition talking about Jade Carey, and Jocelyn Robertson as being potentially filling that role should they pick somebody. After today, again, we're testing the water. We're getting warmed up for championships. But Jade Carey beat Jocelyn Robertson on both of those events today, on floor and on vault. So, again, it's early a little bit. A few weeks till championships. I guess it's not that early, Sam, right? But right now, the nod goes to Jade Carey if they do have that floor vaulter role to fill.
Well, it's a double-edged sword because they want to come to these competitions like Classics and be prepared, but you really don't want to be at 100% right now because that's too difficult to maintain for a couple of months. So,
but it also depends on who you are,
yeah,
and what situation you're in. Yeah.
Simone's always at 100%. She's got no other speed.
So a good night for Jade Carey. Suni Lee, the number on balance, good night for Suni Lee, 14.5.
And she's another one of those athletes, Terry and Sam. Bars and beam are the 2 events where she can shine, and she just showed beam here today.
Absolutely, just a little bit less than Simone got on beam. Shilese Jones waiting on that final score of the evening for her floor exercise. There it is, even 14. So step aside and wrap things up. come back in a moment here after this final rotation at the Core Hydration Classic. '24 Core Hydration Classic is brought to you by Xfinity. Stream sports from the best seats in the house with Xfinity because it's only live once. By Nike, introducing the Nike Air Max DN, featuring dynamic air. The next generation of air technology is here. Air Max DN, feel the unreal. By Prevagen. And by Core Hydration. Core Hydration believes that wellness is whatever works for you. Find your balance, find your core. And a look now at best seat in the house highlight presented by Xfinity. Got to be this, right, from Simone?
Just incredible work. Look how high she gets off the table. 2 flips in a pike position. And she still had some left in the tank.
Xfinity keeps gymnastics fans in the zone with a connection you can rely on. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity because it's only live once. So it is Simone Biles who wins the all-around here. 59.5 the number. Shilese Jones had the lead after the second rotation, comes in second. Jordan Childs, Jade Carey, Sky Blakely, the top 5 as we send it over to Zora with Simone.
Congrats, Simone. This is the first of a few meets in the U.S. this summer. What are the main takeaways for you?
Yes, for me, I was just happy to be back out there, get through those nerves again, feel that adrenaline. I can't really complain how the first meet back was.
What about that bar routine? What'd you think?
Yeah, you know, it's just, for me, it's just about getting through it, having the confidence and working on cleanliness. So I got through it. Of course, there's things to go home and fix, but I'm not mad about it.
And she's saying this after a win. It seemed like so much was happening in this one between falls, scratches, injuries, and I want to remind people, like, all these women know each other, right? So how do you continue to focus when all that is going on around you?
Yeah, in the sport, a lot of adversity you have to overcome. So it's a very unique sport, but as long as we're there cheering each other on and hoping for the best and having confidence in each other's gymnastics, then it's going to work, and we're going to do our best no matter what happens out there on the floor.
You're at football games all the time supporting your husband. He's in the gym today.
Yeah.
What does he think of gymnastics meets?
I think this one was a huge thing for him because he hasn't been in a while, but to hear those girls scream as loud as the fans in the football field, I think is something new. So it's really exciting to be in both atmospheres.
Thanks, Simone. See you at U.S. Championship.
Of course, thank you. You too.
That she competed on, he was standing in the front row and cheering tonight. So pretty cool to see as she goes to this season Bears games, not Packers games, but Bears games this time around. So when you take in the evening here in Hartford, what'd you learn tonight?
I learned that a lot of combinations and a lot of the difficulty are not ready yet. We saw some mistakes. Again, we don't want them to be at 100%. They want to peak at the right time, which is Olympic trials and the Olympic Games. So they're going to go back in the gym and work on those numbers and gain more consistency before championships.
You heard Simone talking about other athletes and helping them, and she's been a big role model for them. Obviously, the example she set, but also at the gym. And a number of those athletes competing tonight train at her gym, too.
She's the epitome of working smarter, not harder. And what I mean by that is she is very intentional with her turns, and she wants to make everything count, quality versus quantity. I think that's what helped her last so long as an older gymnast in the sport, and we're seeing her continue to have success.
You mentioned mistakes and where they are in the season, the run-up to Paris, but how about the other highlights from the evening? Shilese Jones on certain events. Well, all of them, really, but the uneven bars, that was spectacular.
I was going to say Shilese Jones across the board looked like a highlight to me. She looked really calm. She had great composure when she was competing, and she looked consistent. So I know she's still planning to add some difficulty, but her routines look ready for it.
Jade Carey, also a very good night as we talk about that competition within the competition and look ahead to maybe making the Olympic team.
She added the difficulty from her college season. She did have that mistake on bars. I know she's disappointed with that, but I think she's moving in the right direction, especially when you're comparing her to last year and the growth she's had since then.
thoughts on the U.S. Championships coming? It's only in a couple weeks. I mean, we're just next week, and then we go to the U.S. Championships and what they face there.
Well, I think this was a good meet to get those nerves and jitters out. I mean, if Simone Biles is talking about the nerves, you can only imagine what some of the other athletes are feeling with the adrenaline here with the first big meet of the season. So I think we're going to see a lot less of those mistakes in a couple weeks at championships.
Yeah, just mentally preparing for this too, and not only the physical aspect of it, but the schedule, and you check that out. I mean, it happens in a hurry, and then the Olympics are right upon you. As an athlete heading into an Olympic year, that crowded schedule has to be a challenge.
Yeah, that mental fortitude is really important in those moments, and especially competing time and time again with these big skills. So it's no easy feat, and these athletes are really putting their bodies and their minds through the ringer, and of course to accomplish their ultimate goal of going to the Olympics.
By the way, shout out to the crowd here in Hartford tonight. They showed up in a big way, and they were loud even before this event started. So it was special. It was very good to have this event right here in Hartford, Connecticut. You can catch all the top U.S. gymnasts back in action. 2024 U.S. Gymnastics Championships in Fort Worth, May 30th through June 2nd on NBC, CNBC, and Peacock. So we'll see you there. Until then, for Sam Pescic, John Roethlisberger, and Zora Stevenson, I'm Terry Gannon. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody, from Hartford.